Hello friends, this is Rahul Singh. Today we will discuss some basic functionality of Barracuda Web Application Firewall. So, so we have demo module of Barracuda Web Application Firewall. So let me log in. Okay. So this is the demo provided by Barracuda Web Application company. So you will have only read-only access on it. You cannot make any changes, but you can see whatever things it has. You can just go through it and you can learn, but you cannot make any changes. So today I will be explaining you some basic features and functionality of Barracuda Web Application Firewall. Okay. So I have logged in. This is the default page. This is dashboard. Okay. So here, before starting, I will explain you what is Web Application Firewall. So the web application firewall is the firewall which works at layer 7 in application layer. So this is little bit different from traditional firewall, network firewall, because it works at layer 7 and it is especially designed to protect web applications, your web servers, web application like your websites, like internet banking. If we talk about banking sector, so banking sector uses multiple web applications like net banking, mobile banking, and if we talk about e-commerce, so they have multiple sites, website like Flipkart, Amazon, Netflix, video streaming sites. So they need a special protection. So the traditional firewall, network firewall, not able to give that much security in comparison to web application firewall. So this web application firewall is especially designed to protect your web application against layer 7 attacks, uh, application layer attacks. So let me tell you what kind of web layer 7 attacks are. So these are the some of the layer 7 attacks, web application attack like XSS injection attacks, forceful browsing, protocol violations, session tampering attacks, SQL injection, DOS, injection violation, bot mitigation. So so these are the web layer 7 attacks. So web application firewall is specifically designed to analyze traffic at payload level at layer 7, and it found any uh, anomaly or any suspicious traffic, it's going to block it, not allowed to pass to the your backend web application. So how it works? So let me tell you how the Barracuda web application firewall works and how it is deployed. So uh, let me give you one example. Let me open Paint. Yeah. So for example, let's take an example of a bank. Suppose your customer is bank and your bank is using a web application called internet banking. Okay, like this is internet banking, and other application, this is mobile banking. Okay, so here is the user, or it may be attacker. Okay, so in case if you are using traditional firewall, network firewall, okay, so any traffic generated by the user from in the internet outside has to go to the your network firewall, then your web application firewall. But we all know that traditional firewall like our network firewall works at the layer 3 or layer 4. Some of the next generation firewall works up to the layer 7, but it does not provide that much of security. So this firewall only analyze the header of the traffic. If header is uh, matches against the rule, so it will allow the traffic, otherwise it will block. So some of the next generation firewall works at layer 7. It analyzes the up to the payload level and try to find the any malicious traffic, but that not gives that much of security. So we use one wave WAF, that is called Barracuda Web Application Firewall here. Okay, so let me remove this. Okay, now this is Barracuda Web Application Firewall. Okay, so how it works, it is deployed just before your web application or web server. So any traffic coming from outside will first go to your web application firewall. Your web application firewall analyze the traffic against various signatures. It has various attack signature patterns. It analyze against various attacks like SQL injection, protocol violation, cookie hijacking, access, and cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery. There are multiple attacks. So if it finds the traffic is clean, then it allowed to go web application firewall. It also analyze the response against various security policy. Okay, if the response is satisfying the security policy, so it will allow back to the your user. Similarly, we can use single Barracuda web application firewall to monitor or to protect multiple your web application. For example, if you have FTP servers, you can also protect your web FTP server through your single WAF. So how it is done? Let me explain you how in WAF. So first you need to create a service. Service is something which going to identify, yes, this traffic is for uh, service is something which is going to identify, yes, this traffic is for internet banking, this traffic is mobile banking or FTP. Okay, so you need to create three service, one service for internet banking, one service for mobile banking, and one service of FTP server. Okay, so how to create service, let me explain you here. First go to the basic and then services. Yes, so here is Barracuda has already given some demo services added here. So this is HTTP service. Okay, so this is the badstore.net. This is one website, one web application that is being protected by this WAF, and this is the real server. Okay, so let me show you by uh, what all things here. So this is the service name. You have to provide one service name. For example, let me notepad. Okay, okay. So suppose we have mobile banking. We can give mobile banking. Okay, service name. You can give mobile banking ID. Anything. Okay, depends on your requirement. Or now you have to give your IP address. 10.0.0.8. Here you can give whatever you have, depends on your requirement, you can give anything. Okay, then here you have to provide subnet mask and enable access logs. So these are the basic configuration is there. Now I will show you how to create our own service. Okay, here to create service you need one virtual IP. Okay, here you have to provide your service name like mobile banking. Okay, now here you have to select the protocol, whether it is HTTP or HTTPS or instant SSL redirect. So I will be explaining you each and every type. So suppose your web application support HTTPS means secure connection. So choose secure HTTPS. Here you have to give virtual IP. What is virtual IP? Because each server, this server must have some IP address. Suppose suppose 10 dot, it is very difficult to write on with pen, 3.4. Okay, 10.2.3.4. This is the IP address of this internet banking, but you have to give one virtual IP. You have on the Barracuda web application firewall. So let's example, I am giving a virtual IP 2.2 10.2.3.10. Okay, okay, this is the virtual IP for this internet banking. Okay, so the person who's just sitting outside will access this IP address directly. Okay, now the Barracuda web application firewall redirect the traffic hitting on this IP to the your actual server on this IP. Okay, you cannot give directly the actual server IP on the web application firewall. We have to provide one virtual IP for each service. So this virtual IP will be different for each and every web application. Okay, so there will be some different virtual IP for mobile banking, and there will be different for uh, uh, FTP server. So the traffic will be redirected according to the virtual IP to the actual server. Okay, suppose someone want to access web FTP server from outside, so it will not directly access web FTP server using FTP server actual IP. So first the user must have to access the virtual IP of FTP, then Barracuda web application firewall analyze the traffic, and if finds everything good, then it will forward to the actual server. Okay, so we need one virtual IP, but it also depends on deployment mode, in which mode you are deploying. Suppose Barracuda web application firewall has three deployment mode. One is proxy mode. Proxy mode has two arm two arm proxy and single arm proxy. Another is bridge mode. But in bridge mode, you can use the same IP address. In bridge mode, we do not use any virtual IP. The actual server IP is used as a VIP. So there is no requirement of using two different IP. So directly from outside, you can access the internal server, uh, internal web application firewall using the actual IP without need of virtual IP. So in the bridge mode, we can use, but in proxy mode, we need to use virtual IP. So proxy mode is simple, and the basic security features are available in bridge mode, but not all the features can be utilized in bridge mode because connection pooling, load balancing such feature is not available in bridge mode. But in proxy mode, we can achieve high level of security and also some extra features like connection pooling, load balancing, So such kind of feature can be utilized in proxy mode. Okay, so these are the modes in deployment mode in Barracuda Web Application Firewall. Now we understood use of virtual IP and actual server IP. Now let's start how to create one service. Suppose we want to add one uh, mobile banking web application in Barracuda WAF. So we'll give one service name, we will choose the type, whether our web application supports HTTP, HTTPS. That's your requirement. That depends on your web application. You can choose anything. So I'm choosing HTTPS. Now here you have to provide virtual IP, which is assigned here. Like this is the virtual IP, and this virtual IP will hit to the your actual server IP. Okay, so this is the actual server IP. So this is a virtual IP. Here you can give actual server IP 2.3.4. Okay. Now if here identifier, if you are using host name, just choose host name and give m banking anything. So okay, if you have IP address, then you can choose IP address. That depends on your requirement. Okay, now you have to you create here it is asking you need to create new group, or you want to add this service in a default group. Okay, if you want to create a new group, then you can click on yes, type the group name, and site is you can leave it as default. And this is most important, here is the web application firewall policy. So depending on your requirement, you can choose security policy. These are the default policy, basic policy. If your web application is SML, SharePoint 2013, OA, Oracle, so you can choose that one. If you if your web application does not matches with any of these options, then you can choose default, or later on I will tell you how to create a new security policy and how to modify the default policy and so and everything. So here we have used HTTPS, so you need to upload a certificate here. So here the certificate, the option to upload certificate will be in certificate tab. So I will explain you in later. So first you have to upload certificate for that web application server, and that will appear here. Once you upload it successfully, then it will appear here. Choose anyone and click on add. So one service will be added here. Okay, now let me explain you what is HTTP. If you choose HTTP, means it is a plain text traffic. Okay, if your web application does not support uh, in encrypted traffic, then you can choose HTTP. Instant SSL. So instant SSL means if it redirects your HTTP traffic to HTTPS. For example, you have a very old web application which do not have capability to encrypt the traffic. So in such case, you don't want to, but to be secure, you want encrypted traffic to be communicated. But your web application does not support encryption feature. So what can you do? So Barracuda will do encryption. The Barracuda will encrypt traffic for you. So for this, you can create instant SSL. Instant SSL traffic type. Create two service of the same IP. One is for HTTP and other is HTTPS on port 443. So any traffic coming on HTTP, it will redirect to HTTPS. It will encrypt, and similarly the response will come from the server. It will also be encrypted and forwarded to the uh, user. Okay, so this is the nice feature in Barracuda WAF. And redirect service means, suppose it will redirect it's a HTTP service, but any traffic coming on HTTP will be redirected to any of your existing HTTPS service. Suppose you have, this is a demo.https service, you want to redirect any traffic coming from mobile banking on port 80 and you want to redirect to any of the existing service, HTTP service, then you can do here. Okay. Now custom, here this gives you capability to define your own custom application requirement. Suppose uh, here if you choose custom, you can define your own port. Suppose your HTTP service, your web server runs on port, your web application runs on port 60 or port 2000. So that depends on your web application. So you can customize your requirement here. You can choose your port number and you can choose your IP address of the actual server. Okay. Now custom SSL means this is very much similar to custom, but in this type encryption will be added. The traffic will be encrypted. Okay. Here the default port is 443, but if your web application support like 388, so you can write 388. So you can use your custom port for encrypted traffic for your web application. Okay. But in case of HTTPS, it will forcefully bound to 443. Okay. But in custom, you can use your own web application port number that your web application is using. Okay, here is the FTP. This is very simple. This will take automatically port 21, and this is clear text. So there is no certificate option is available. If we choose FTP SSL, and there is other option will appear that it asks to upload a certificate, choose a certificate for a certificate is important for encryption. Okay, so we have learned how to create service. Once you fill all these parameters, just click on add. One service will be added. Okay, one service will be added here because this is the read only, so I cannot make any changes. Once the service is added, you can edit it according to requirement later on. So here is server. Here you will get details of actual server IP, and here actual server IP address. Okay, here you will get server name, here server IP address. Okay, port number, status in service, out of service, maintenance, service sticky. Out of service, you can define anything according to your requirement. Here you have defined wait. If you have multiple servers for load balancing purpose, you have to define wait like round round robin. Okay. Hmm. So here you can change the rule. Okay. So this is the rule. Okay, so you can here rule group name and the status is on or off. Okay, so this is on. Here the mode is, there are two mode, one is passive mode and active mode. So the basic difference in passive mode and active mode is, if you select in passive mode, so this rule will be applied to the web application, the particular web application, and it will analyze the traffic. If it finds anything suspicious or anything, any attack, detects any attack, it will not going to block you, it only alerts you, yes, this traffic has this attack pattern, and now it's up to you what action you want to take. But if you choose active mode, so then that security policy will actively block that traffic, it will not allow to pass. Okay, so passive mode only detects and alerts you, and active mode it will detect and blocks. Okay, here access logs and enable or disable. So access log is basically the traffic log. So whatever traffic coming inside or going outside, so these are the basic traffic log will be logged. Okay, It does not contain any uh, web application attack logs. So this is general traffic log. If any, it contains source IP, destination IP, ports, and everything, it will not say, yeah, this is a SQL injection, this is the cross-site scripting. So this is not a attack log. I will be explaining you detail what is the difference between web application log and access log. This is a simple access log means your traffic log. Okay, here you can choose policy, default policy, or whatever that's suitable for your web application you can choose. Okay, here host match, this is the suppose you have you can define your host name to match. Here you can define URL according to your requirement or web application. Okay, so for example, let me explain you what is host name and what is URL. So let's copy the URL here. Okay, entire here. Okay, so this is the protocol, this is HTTPS, and this part is called host. So the first part of every URL will be the host part. waf.barracuda.com will be the host part. Okay, so this will identify the actual server. Okay, this is the server name, and now the rest of the part is URL. So this identified the host, and this identify the resources on the host, what you want to access. So means this is CGI and dash mode. This there might be one directory called CGI.mode, and there is one content index.cgi that you want to access. So this is the resource that we are accessing right now. Okay, and this is the host of on which these content are available. So this is the host part, and this is the host part, and this is the URL part. Okay, similarly you can define here the host and URL that you want to match. Okay, now you can edit the service, you can disable or delete. This is the very simple one. Okay, now we have learned how to create service and how to assign policy, security policy, and everything. Okay, now let me explain you the basic dashboard, how dashboard looks like. Here the first block is attack origin. So here you can see the country wise, region wise, where the attack origin of attack. Here you can see the basic performance statistics, system load, firmware storage, load storage, proxy, CPU utilization. Here you can see how many services. There are 5 services up and 1 service is down. So this is important. If any service is down, you need to check immediately which server is up, which server is down. So you can see here is a port. Okay, now this is the attack pattern. Okay, so uh, these are the attack name, this is the graph and the count. This is the bot statistic. If you have bot mitigation feature enabled, you can see the data related to bot mitigation. Here is the attack list and the total count since the Barracuda web application firewall installed. Here this is the count of last day, here is the count of last 31, means excess injection in last hour 533 531 attempts of excess injection at detected. Now 11,421 in a last day and something, this is 24 lakh something, 98,257. Okay, in total. So similarly you can see all the different kind of attack and their counts. Okay, now CPU utilization. Here it is memory utilization, service bandwidth, service incoming request, how much traffic incoming is. So here you can see the graph. Okay, service wise. Okay, so here incoming connections, here service live sessions. So here you will see the service detail. Here it's showing only one demo.https, but in your actual real environment, in your company, you can see multiple services will be appearing here. Okay, here is https and system bandwidth. Okay, these are the basic uh, of the dashboard. Now we will go to the services once again. So we have covered up almost everything, but anywhere if you feel difficulty, just you can click on the help. Okay, online help, it will redirect, it will give you some details. Okay, you can just go through it and you can learn yourself by yourself. Okay, now I will tell you how to create security policy and how to apply security policy to the web applications. Now go to the default security. Okay, so whenever you install any service, the default security policy will be applied. Okay, so now what is the security checks under the default policy? So here is the list. So under default security policy, your WAF will check these many parameters. Okay, so these many kind of checks will be performed on each traffic. So these are the it will check protocol limit, so it is enabled as cookie security. Okay, so this is the three type of cookie security: encrypted, signed, and none. So I will not be explaining on each and everything, otherwise it will take a lot of time, but here little description is written here. Or you can, if you don't understand what is the meaning of cookie security, URL protection, parameter protection, so you can just click on the help button and it will give you the brief description of each and every parameter. Okay, SQL injection, URL protection, what is URL protection, what is parameter protection. So you can just go through it and learn from yourself. Okay, I'm only explaining you how to do this. So these are the all the checks are available by default. It will check for SQL injection, it will check for command injection and prevention. So this is the default security policy, so it will be applied to all newly installed services by default, but you can change it. You can create your own security policy according to your web application requirements. So I will tell you later, but this is the default one. Suppose this is protocol limits. If you click on no, so in that this protocol limit check will be disabled. It will not check. So your WAF will not check protocol limits on any traffic. Okay, by default. If you click on none, so it will not going to check any cookie security. URL protection is enabled, you can disable it. So it depends on your requirement, you can just enable disable. Okay, so this is very simple. Just you need to learn what is the meaning of suppress server, errors, default character set, excesses, injection, and prevention. So these things are important. Okay, so I recommend you to go to the help button and just go through and learn and try to understand what is the meaning of all these security checks. Okay, now earlier I told you how to upload certificate, so I go to the certificate option. Okay, see if here you can just create your own certificate. Suppose own self-signed certificate. If you do not have any CA signed authorized certificate, then in that case you can use the Barracuda web application self-signed create a certificate. Okay, now you can upload if you have CA certificate signed by a certificate authority. Just you can upload here, browse and upload. RSA, you can choose the encryption technology. Okay, here assign associated key according to a requirement. You can choose yes or no. Okay, here you can allow private key export, yes or no, you can choose that one. Upload CA certificate here. Okay, upload trust server certificate, here you can upload the server certificate. So if you upload the certificate here, you can able to access anywhere, wherever required. For example, here let me go to the services once. Okay, let me choose HTTPS. Once you uploaded certificate, in certificate tab it will appear here, and you can choose from here and add. Okay, now coming to the IP configuration. Here this is the basic networking. You have to provide the IP address, subnet mask. Now this is the LAN IP of your Barracuda application, firewall, subnet mask, DNS configuration, default host name, domain name. So these are the basic networking uh, options are there that you need to define. Now go to the administration. So here you can create old password, new password, which you can change password. Your basic administration features are there. You can use it. System location, time zone, IP range, which all IP range can access the Barracuda application management console. So here you can define the range, web interface settings, minutes. Now SNMP configuration you can do. Trap receiver server you can identify right here. Email server configuration is can be done here. Okay, so this is the basic networking. Now the important thing is how to uh, so earlier I told you there are two type of logs. One is web firewall logs and access log. So let me explain you access log. What is access log? So this is the basic traffic log. So it logs each and every traffic which is passing through your web application. So see, this will capture time, ID, URL, source IP, source country, destination IP, destination, service port. You can click on details. You will see some more details. Client IP. Here is the client IP means the source IP, country. Okay, this is the user agent. Some basic. Here is the service detail, destination IP. Okay, server details. So basic traffic details you will see here. There is nothing you can nowhere you can see any at, attack details is here. So this is the basic traffic logs. Okay, access log means basic traffic logs. Now in web application firewall logs, here you can see only attack logs. Okay, if your WAF detects SQL injection, it will comes here in web application firewall logs. Web firewall logs. So e any attack detected by WAF will be logged here, and you can see the details here. So this is the severity warning. Okay, this is the service detail, client details. Okay, here attack details, unrecognized cookie, session tamper. Okay, details is cookie bij pending a service created 360 days back, reason no valid encrypted pair, no valid encrypted pair. So these are the identifier on the basis the WAF detected this attack. Okay, this is the session tamper attack. Now you can fix if you found that your WAF has wrongly detected this. Okay, so you can fine tune the rule here. Just you can click on fix. Okay, so here I am not allowed to do any kind of changes, is not showing, but in your environment, in your company, you will have access to fine tune the rule. Okay, So we have learned here it is audit logs. You will see the basic audit log, like who accessed, when accessed, and what resources has been accessed, what modification has been done. So this you will see the user related activity here. Okay, now notification. So here you can choose notification, you can choose email or Slack. Slack is a kind of uh, where you can do is in corporate environment. Slack channel is being used for chatting or transferring data. It is similar like Microsoft Team or Skype, okay, where you can chat, where you can call, video call, and you can ping anyone or chat over on this channel. So if you choose Slack channel, it will notify you if anything occurs. So AWS configuration access, so any kind of changes, so whatever you select that. So suppose you here it is chosen cluster manager, if any change done on cluster manager, it will notify you via email. Okay, if you choose Slack, so it will notify you via Slack, use instant message. If you choose email, so it will notify you by email. Okay, so whatever things you think that is important, that you want immediate action or immediate notification, so just choose that tick mark against that parameter, and you will get notification if any changes made against that. Okay, now important thing is report, how to create report. So click on the report. So the report creation is very easy in Barracuda Web Application Firewall. Here there is no, you don't have to write any kind of query, any kind of logic. So everything is inbuilt. Only thing you need to do is just select that option, and just you can run. Just first you need to select time frame, depends on your requirement. You can choose yesterday, today, 7 days, or custom. Okay, here is the custom. Now here you have to choose service name. Okay, so if you choose service name, here you have to define the name of the service, means mobile banking, net banking, for which service you want to generate report, that you need to define here. Okay, if you want to generate report for all service, just click on the all. Okay, now summary data bot summary report. So if you want bot summary report, just click on it and go to down. Here you can write report name. If you want in HTML format or PDF format, just choose one depending on requirement. Okay, now delivery option, email or FTP. So if you want to deliver on email, just write on email address of that recipient, and if you want to choose FTP, then you have to define FTP server IP address, port number, username, and everything that is required. Okay, so this you want to configure it daily, weekly, monthly, that depends on you. You have to choose time, on what time, click apply, then report will be scheduled. Now the coming to the content, what kind of report we can generate from here. Simply you have to choose and tick mark. Suppose you want system summary and botnet summary report, then choose both, and it will generate a report based on this scheduling parameter. Okay, now suppose I want only bot traffic. Okay, just tick on the bot and schedule the report. It will give you the report of bot traffic. Now you want to see what and how the report will look like. So just you can show report, click on show report. It will give you some yeah, see, this is the output, and this way the report will looks like. Okay, host name, date range, and some everything will be mentioned here. Traffic, this percentage. Okay, bad bot on categorized, good bot, human. Okay, here you can see. Now you want to see, check uh, attack by category. You also want to include in attack by category. Okay. Now here click on show. See here it will show attack by category. Limits other attack, protocol violation count, SQL injection attack here count. Okay. From here you can also drill down. It will directly take you the that client IP or service. So the report creation is very easy. Just you need to select whatever you want to generate report. Use anything according to your requirement and schedule it. That's it. It's very easy. Now, so Azure configuration, it's a new thing. So I don't have idea about it. So I'll be not explaining you. Now I will tell you most important thing how to create your custom policy, security policy. So go to the security policy. Okay. Now you want to create your own policy, so just go to the policy manager. Okay, suppose I have added one mobile banking ser service web application, so I want to create one special service, special security policy for mobile banking, which is suitable for mobile banking only. Okay, so I will write a mobile banking. This will be the name. Okay, here create new. Okay, once you click on add, one mobile banking service will be added here, but right now I have only read only access, so I can't be add anything. So but in your environment, this service will be added here. Okay, so one new policy will be created. Okay, now you the second thing, once your new policy is created, now you have to assign some security checks. Okay, some advanced security, what kind of check you want to add, that security policy will perform on the traffic. So that custom policy is not added here because I have read only access, but I will be explaining you by taking example of any of this available. So okay, so here only you can create one security policy, that's it, nothing can be done here. Now in the next, these are the security checks: request limit, cookie security, URL protection. These are the security checks that will be performed on traffic. So under this security checks there will be some other sub security checks. Okay, in a detail. So I will go to the request limit. If you want to uh, perform request limit security check on mobile banking, then you can go for request here. Now here you have to choose your policy name. So in your environment your mobile banking will be appear here, just choose your mobile banking, but I don't have the mobile banking, so I will choose any default or any SharePoint or anything. I will choose SharePoint. Okay, so now whatever changes we do, it will be applied to the your SharePoint security policy. So enable request limit, yes, yes means request limit will be applied to the this SharePoint security policy. Okay, now max request, here you can change according to your requirements, server capacity, and max request line length, max URL length, max query length. So what kind of length, so depending on your ideal situation, ideal condition for your web application, you can choose, otherwise you can leave it by default. Here it is showing recommended, so you can keep it as a recommended and values. Okay, but I'm just showing you how to modify your security policy. So the request limit is the one security check. Under request limit there are multiple subchecks. Okay, so just you can modify according to your requirement. Okay, now request limit is applied to the SharePoint. Now we'll go to cookie security. Okay, again you have to choose SharePoint here, or now here signed non encrypted You can choose according to a requirement, cookie max age, IP. So all these things parameter that you have to choose according to a requirement. Similarly, URL protection, and so you have to choose first your policy name. Here I am choosing SharePoint, but in your case you can choose your newly created service policy. Okay, then so whatever things you do here, it will be applied to the SharePoint policy. Similarly, parameter protection, clocking, data protection, URL. So in each and every security checks, you go click on that, go there and just modify the subjects and according to your requirement and apply it and save it here. Okay, so the new security policy is created, and now you can assign this new security policy to the your web application. Okay, so this is the basic functionality of the Barracuda web application firewall. Now we have some more advanced features here that can be used if you want more granular inspection of traffic according to your requirement. You can just choose this feature as well, but you have to go through it each and every feature. You have to learn what is the exact meaning of website profiling, advanced security, JSON security. So this will be the very high level concepts. So in this video I will not be covering up because it requires a lot of time. These are the very advanced things. Okay, so you can enable all these features according to a requirement, and bot mitigation, so how to prevent from botnets. Okay, robots. Okay, now access control. So these things can be explored. So in networks, there are basic networking, NAT, route, ACL, network configurations, network firewall logs can be done here. That's a basic networking. In advanced, we can take backup, energize update, so you can update your firmware or any energize security policy updates will be here. Firmware updates, you can export logs from here. You can export system logs. You can see system logs here. Here templates, view internal patterns, means the how the security, it's a signature patterns, any custom signature pattern that you want to capture in a traffic, you want to detect, so you can create any internal patterns here. Now libraries, admin access control, high availability, appearance, system configuration, secure configuration, troubleshooting. You can do any kind of troubleshooting by SSH, taking SSH, ping or telnet you can do from here. And vulnerability reports, cloud generation, firewall setting, cloud control, task manager. So these are the features that you can explore later on. So we have covered all the basic features and functionality of Barracuda web application firewall. Okay, so we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.